there. Good to go. All right, well, thanks for being here tonight as we explore a little bit more what a mission trip in December to Argentina might look like under the guidance of Martine and Stephanie Mendez. Looking forward to hearing more from them tonight, but I thought it'd be good to start off with a prayer as we begin these plannings. Almighty God, we know that you guide each of our steps. We hear in Scripture that we make plans, but you guide each of our steps, and so we ask that you would be with us as we take these initial steps, looking to deepen our relationship, our partnership with Pueblo de Dios and Pepe's kids, to hear more about the connection we've got going on there and explore with you how we might grow together in our relationship with you and share the good news of Jesus. Guide our conversation this time together tonight in the meetings and travel yet to come. All this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Before we go any further, I think I handed this out. Everybody's got a copy of this guide to Argentina 2023. And if you're watching this recording, I will send out a copy, a PDF of this with the recording as well, so you can check that out and ask any questions that you have on the way. I thought a good way to get us started would be to look at this video that Steph and Martine put together for us, just looking at how some of our connection has helped grow the ministry there and some of the things that they've been doing that we may partner with and do while we're there, and just to help maybe generate some questions and help our thinking about what this trip could look like. And then at that point, I'll turn it over to the two of you to share more with us and answer any questions. All right, so I'm excited about some of the options and things that are going on there already, and exploring what we might do together. But without further ado, I invite both Martine and Steph forward to share more with us. And I've got a quiz of some questions for you at the end note that some folks sent in too that aren't able to be here but wanted to know some things. So here we go.
Thank you, Brian. I know that this is basically for the recording, use the mic and things like that, because we don't have so much people here. It's fine. My name is Martin. I'm from Argentina. This is the typical t-shirt that we use there for soccer. We are the actual world soccer champion in the world, okay? And I saw the final. Basically, it was a Sunday morning final, soccer final. And you know, I was in the church because basically I working in the church. And after the sermon, I had to go into my office and see the final game, and I screaming there, and all the people listen to that. But if you understand, soccer is a big thing for us. In our culture, soccer is a big thing. It's massive. I mean, we love that. I'm from Argentina, like I said before. I lived there for 20 years. It's my hometown. I know this town pretty well. And then when I was 20 years old, I moved to Spain. Okay. When I moved to Spain, I lived there for 13 years. I met with one Iowan girl, like basically now is my wife now for 9 years. I don't know. I don't want to resume that, you know. But it's the blessings to be here. We moved 4 years and a half ago to Spain, to Iowa. Basically, we come in here for the weather and say we want to experience the winter and all the ice and how we can involve and see how it's dark in the night, like at 4:30 p.m. and things like that, you know, engaging well the culture. But First Lutheran support our ministry in Spain. If you don't know that, the church here support us and praying for us, and that was a huge and tremendous support for us. When we met with Stephanie before marriage, we took a trip to Argentina. She was in Argentina before this first trip when we started dating. And then other people and other friends start to be interested to be part of the ministry in Argentina. Basically, in Argentina is like Arizona here. Arizona, yep. The weather is a desert area in some ways, and we live pretty close to the Andes Mountains. Okay, the people is lovely, better than me. They love it's a vineyard, it's a wine land. The people call Mendoza like the earth of the wine and the good sun. Basically, 95% of the time it's sunny there. Okay, when it's winter here, like it's in December, it's summer there. Okay, because the weather change. Basically, my brother is the pastor of the Baptist Church in Argentina. We're connected with them, and that was like 5 years ago. They started with this program, the Pepe's program. Pepe's program is basically for kids that they need education. Maybe Stephanie can explain so much better than me what is the ministry there, how we're working with these kids. But I want to say, like, it's many different reasons that this trip can be a possibility to go in and serve, but at the same time to enjoy a new culture too. I don't know how many of you have experience to living or experience to visit other cultures. Yeah. For example, where you? Guatemala. Okay. Oh, always. In Mendoza, always. Yeah, earthquake in Mendoza is pretty common.
I think we had one. I didn't even feel it.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, we have a lot there. Somebody else left the hands. Where you went before? Yes. Guatemala. Okay, awesome. Mm-hmm. In Norway. Okay, north of Europe. It's good. It's fun. Okay, somebody else? Josh, you went to? Yeah. The air. Sevilla, Spain. Okay. Here we go. Sevilla. Ole. Okay. I suppose your Spanish is nice and clean, right? Like my English. Okay. Um, but okay, Argentina. Remember this: is no third world. Okay, it's second world. Okay, it's important because the people think, oh, we're gonna live in a humble place, no electricity or internet. We have everything there. The communication is pretty optimal. We have the infrastructure, is the word. the connections and things working pretty well, okay? This don't be a problem. It's a touristic area. Basically, it's a wine tourist because I don't know who like the wine. It's not a good place to talk about alcohol and things like that. But I say the best Malbec is not because I'm from there, but one of the best wines come from Mendoza, okay? And it's a good place. The people is so friendly in Mendoza. Other thing, siesta is important. We take our naps. You know, Stephanie knows this pretty well. Basically, the people, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., you don't see people in the street. Normally, they're going to take their nap. In the night, like in the middle of the night, they still wake up, okay? And they, just to have a cultural shock and say, how these people can live like this. Yes, it's the way that, because it's pretty hot, and normally people take naps there, okay?
You might get invited to a barbecue that starts at 10:30 at night. That's just the way it is. Then you eat a huge amount of meat late at night. Yeah.
Like I say before, the weather there is 64 to 85 in December, okay? It's gonna be pretty warm. At the same time, the good thing is now the new generations, I say, they speak English there. And this is pretty cool because you can have the facility, you can speak English there and the kids can understand or can use their phones, Google Translate, and working pretty well. Don't be nervous about your Spanish too, okay? It's a good place to practice your Spanish too. And the kids there are so interested in learning English. Like it's a great possibility to go and serve them too. Okay, the Pepe's program, I want to go to the heart of this because basically this service trip for a week, we're going to focus and serve the community, know the culture. The interesting thing is see how God's working in other cultures. Be open to say how this can be possible. Be open to be surprised. And normally I always say this, the thing is important to you take notes in your notebook about the experience that you had, how it impact your life. Maybe kids that you can see maybe can change your perspective about life, how simple it is for them. And we have a lot of different stories about how a simple toy can transform the life of one single kid. And that is amazing. But I want to Stephanie explain a little bit what do we do in the Pepe's Kid.
I mean, I think most of you know Pepe's. That's a big reason why you are heading down or interested in heading down. But like Martine said, we've been kind of the people on this end of it for the last 4 or 5 years. And last November, what a lot of these pictures were taken was the first time that I had actually seen Pepe's in action. So it was very neat to actually be able to be there and see the kids. And so it'll be about a year after that at least Martine will be returning. At this point, I am not able to go. We have 3 little kids, and we're not planning on returning at this moment. But the kids enjoyed it also, being able to interact with the other kids their same age and play games with them. Basically, December, it ends kind of mid-December, the Pepe's program. So they will be wrapping things up. They generally have birthday parties, they celebrate Christmas, there's just a lot of that kind of stuff. Wrapping up if they have any leftover homework or exams the kids need to study for. And the kids are divided into preschool, and then the elementary age, and then more the junior high school age. And so you will probably be divided into different groups. That's how it was when we were down there. But there's about 60 kids, and it probably will stay the same over this next year, I'm guessing, maybe add a few more. But obviously, as the kids stay with the program, there's more that are in the high school age range. And so they've mainly kept a lot of the kids that they started with 5 to 6 years ago. So the program's kind of grown with them, and then they take on more at age 2 or 3. There's a few of them that young already that are getting into it. I was with the preschool crew a lot. I mean, preschool is preschool all over the world. So it's kind of chaotic, but it's fun. I enjoyed, since I do speak Spanish, I really enjoyed communicating. The funny thing is, though, with slang and different things, even if you can speak Spanish, Argentinian Spanish is kind of a whole new ball game, to be honest. It has a huge Italian, it's like up and down, sing-songy. So it will be different, a little bit different. I don't know if you guys have studied Spanish here in high school or other places, but the Spanish we learn here is generally Mexican-based Spanish, and Argentina has a lot of different words and different slang, but it's fun. That's the fun thing. When you travel, you get to learn the nuances of all these cultural things that you discover about cultures, which is excellent. I'm trying to think anything else Pepe-wise specifically, but yes, 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's generally like 6 to 8-ish, and so it's more an evening thing, the actual Pepe program. So depending on what Martin and his brother get worked out for the rest of the day, I don't know if you want to touch on that, because I think you've talked with Marcelo.
Basically, this trip, if we're going to do it, we can serve it in different places. One of them is visit the local families, okay? The Pepe's kids start to invite their parents to come into the church. The kids be the extension and going and share with them about, Daddy, Mommy, we have to go into the church. We want to be part of this because they come in and help us, and you have the opportunity to go in and serve. The church and the neighborhood where the church is a pretty vulnerable neighborhood. A lot of necessities. As Stephanie saw, and everyone there, when we went there, we saw single moms. A lot of single moms with kids. Okay, drugs is one of the big issues there. But basically, the necessity is going and spend time with these families, going and reach out with the church. It's amazing you can connect with brothers and sisters with the same faith in Christ, but they live in a different way. Be open to experience. Maybe we're going to have a couple of days you can live with them and experience how they live in their houses. And at the same time, we're going to base and have our time like a base together, okay? A home for all together where we can planning. And the other place that we're going to go in and help is basically the school year is until started in March and finish in December. Okay, and the important thing is going and help in the close of the year with the kids and celebrate the year ending and this, because later vacations coming and they're going to start it in March. In March we have other trip to Argentina with Downtown Church, with my local church, and going and start the year with them. It's a blessing to be part of this, and you are open to doing this trip. Please, if you have questions, what are we doing there, how the things going, please, we are more than open to responding to you, even now if you have questions. Basically, the church have a challenge for the next years. Basically, they bought the land, okay? They have a building there that they rented before, and now they're gonna add 2 more classes, because basically the Pepe's program started with 7 kids, but in these 5 years they have 60 and more kids that want to be part of this program. The thing is, the church don't have a space for them, and we want to work and help them to helping with the construction and going and cleaning and going and help and every necessity that the church have, practical necessities there. Be open to brought your clothes to go on and work and help. But at the same time, we put the other things too, as a time to exploring in a new culture. The youth group is big there. They have like 25, 30 kids, and they're amazing. I know them because they were little when I left from Mendoza, and now they are, big kids, engaged with the Lord, serving the Lord, and that is, I think, is one of the main things. We went with the Jorgensens. That was like in November. This is like 6 months ago, and with leadership in our church, and the kids was fascinated with the youth group, and we're doing a couple things, activities, and hang out together with them.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely there's soccer opportunities, I know. I know you play soccer. Do anybody else? Yes, you do too? Which is, with the youth, there's definitely options. Even maybe with the younger kids or something can be arranged around that if soccer is a big part of those of you going down. I mean, other things, the youth, they've gone hiking up the mountains. That's definitely like day trips. It's very easy, about 2 hours and you're in the Andes Mountains, which is neat. We spent a day driving up to the mountains. We didn't do a lot of hiking since we still have a 2-year-old, but we got out and saw some of it.
If you have questions about the culture, yes, we are open to talk. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Do we need to wear long skirts, or what is the dress code in Argentina? You do not need to wear long skirts, no. On here, it says comfortable pants, jeans, but you can definitely wear shorts. The only thing is it can't be short shorts. You want to be respectable. So like mine are fine, or even a little bit shorter, but not short. You can wear tank tops. All the kids will be wearing tank tops. You can wear dresses. So it's not as conservative as Guatemala. And some of those, yes. Just a few other things looking on here. This was actually, some of it has been changed, but this was actually for a trip to Spain. So where it says on hand, cash, euros, you don't need to bring euros. Right, but you can bring down dollars, and you actually can get a better exchange rate if you bring down dollars and we take it to someone to exchange into pesos instead of using your debit card to take out money. That's how we do it. We bring our own cash down and then change it there. Just a little practical thing. Let's see. It says vaccination card also, that you do not need any longer unless something happens to change in the next few months. But when we went in November, you no longer had to show that. When you arrive to Argentina, there's no process of COVID checking any vaccine cards. You just have to go through normal immigration to enter the country. Let's see. I feel like there's a few other things that I had seen on here. You can wear sandals. Just know that it is dusty. You will get dirty and dusty because it is very dry and it is desert. The very neat thing about Mendoza, though, is that, I mean, hundreds of years ago, they've made waterways all over the city, and so all along the waterways are tall, old trees, and so there's shade in the city. It's a very neat city that you will see. So it's not like you're exposed to the sun the entire time, but yeah, it's very, very dusty. And that was also interesting, bringing a 18-month-old who lived in the dust the entire time, but she had fun. It was more me that was like, oh no. Let's see, seeing if there's anything else.
Yeah.
But
if you have questions about the practical things that we have there in the list, somebody have.
Just trying to think of a few that I did. You definitely want, if you use bug spray, to bring bug spray because the mosquitoes can be bad at night also when you're sleeping, and sunscreen.
And remember that it's important if you have allergies or something, brought you medication, there is important, okay? I don't think we have to go in with one kind of seguridad médica, health, medical insurance. I think it's not necessarily, basically because they have a good medical staff there, and it's free, okay? We can be covered by this. Yeah.
A lot of water. You do need to drink a lot of water.
Yeah, it's practical.
And a hat. I always wore a hat. But again, those are the practical things.
And most of you have iPhones. Somebody used other kind of cell phones. This is a good thing too. Normally the charger for iPhone is not a problem because it's basically universal, but sometimes if you have other kind of cell phone and things, we need maybe something to change the energy power or something like that. But easy to go into the converter. Thank you. Mm-hmm. It's a converter that you can buy it in Amazon. Is I think it's Type C, but basically, yeah, it's. Mm-hmm. 220 is the voltage there. 220. Yep. I don't know. I know it's so precise. And we can check that. Yeah. Thank you. It's a good question. Yep. Yeah, normally I'm in charge of this, but the hertz, I don't have the right information for that. Okay, somebody else have questions about the culture, practical things to broad, or how is the people there? The people is spread, food, yes. Yeah, remember this, Argentina is no Mexico. You know, when I moved here, people say, oh, you eat tacos and spicy things. Argentinian, we don't like the spicy things. It's fine, we love Mexico and things, but it's no how the Argentinian we are. The people are pretty extrovert there. Be ready for this, are passionate. It's the mix of Hispanic, Italian, and people, local people for sure. But it's interesting how they're going to interact with you too, okay? No be worried. Remember this, girls and boys have a kiss in the cheek, okay? I remember this because a friend of ours was like, hello. And the girls and boys feel like, okay, what is happening here? Just this culture, okay? It's fine. In Spain it's two, okay? Yeah, it's just one, in Argentina is one, okay?
Basically just brush your cheek. You don't really kiss. You don't really kiss. You just kind of brush your cheek. Like this. You want me to show?
Okay.
You just go like that. So you don't, and it's generally man-to-man does something different.
Yeah, like.
Well, man-to-man. Oh, that was loud.
Yeah. Okay, we're shaking hands, say, hey, what's up, you know, and things like that.
Go over all those things there too. That's just the fun cultural.
And sometimes, yeah, the people going to talk with you just more close than the normal. It's fine, okay? Yeah, don't feel nervous about it. Sometimes this kind of things happening. And we're going to be there. Marcelo, he was here a couple of years ago and shared about the ministry. The relationship with the local churches is awesome. And we want to serve you too, so you can have the best experience there too. And like a local, I know how we can move in and go in and be related with the community there, okay? And remember this, it's going to be in a Christian environment too, in some ways, you know, with good values and good vibes. Okay, other questions? Food, pizza, hamburgers is the culture that we had there. Italian, yeah, a lot of Italian food, and barbecues, okay? A lot of barbecues. We'll be ready.
When you say barbecue, though, they do not use barbecue sauce. No sauce. It's the meat on the grill or whatever they're grilling with a lot of salt. It's good. It's excellent. It's just when you say barbecue here, it's different. It can be different. So it's not, yeah, like Southern barbecue. It's not that.
Okay, questions about culture, weather, about transportation?
I'll just come up here so I can get the questions on the recording. But if I were geographically challenged, which I can be at times, where in the world is Argentina?
Okay. Argentina is the last country in South America, okay? We share just pretty close to Chile. Okay, we share Chile having a small, you know, in the, I say in the west, and Argentina basically is all the south. Mendoza is in the center of the country, pretty close to the Andes Mountains, okay? Basically, it's from Santiago de Chile, it's in an hour fly to Mendoza, okay? We have an international airport, okay? That is.
Excuse me? Yes. It's like a 12-hour bus ride to Buenos Aires to the coast, yes. Which I guess that's something, I mean, if you guys had talked, you want to hit Buenos Aires, which is a whole different experience, that would have to get worked in somehow. Just to let you know, it's not close. But by by plane, it's what, 2-hour plane ride? It's a quick plane ride. It's just not by bus. It is the 8th largest country, Argentina is. It's very big, very long. In the southern part, it's about touching Antarctica. It's very cold, and then there's Patagonia, and there's the desert, so.
Thank you. You talked a little bit about like housing or where we would stay when we're there, but can you talk a little more about that? You mentioned maybe staying with families, but maybe having a central location, and I know there's some options, but some people have just, like you said, wondered like, what are the conditions? Are we staying in a hotel? Are we staying in a rented house? Are we staying in someone's house? So maybe just share what our options.
We have different options, like we say. One of these, that was 6 months ago, we rent a house, an Airbnb for 12 person, and they were pretty well accommodated there. That was a good base. But something that we want to use for, I think for this next trip is you can live the experience to living in local houses, okay? Don't be like completely separated, but I think a couple days that you can experience how the people live in there. It's going to be great, and we can go and switch a little bit in groups, okay? If, for example, Adam coming with his son, he's going with his son to house and experience there together, okay? Not something like, we're going to separate it, and you know, people crying in one place and other. No, there's going to be an experience, okay, when we can connecting with local families, but at the same time have a home base where we can talking about what is the plan of the day, what do we want to do, what is the plan for that day, and how we can serve the community well. Even have our devotional together, share the experience that we had the day before or those days that impact you and you want to share it with the group too. It's amazing because we can create a community there that we can, everyone's have different perspective about that. We did this in Spain 3 months ago. We had an experience there. We're living in the same house for a little bit, and everyone put in their perspective about the trip and how riches share together about maybe other perspective and growing in the faith too.
Thank you. Just a couple tentative things we've talked about in the planning, but I'm just going to share here for the sake of anybody watching this on the video too. So we're tentatively looking at Sunday, December 3rd through Monday, December 11th. The age range that we talked about, we're still working out, but tentatively we talked about juniors in high school and up. Cost for the trip, when we last talked, we were kind of thinking $1,700, about $1,100 of that being the flight, and $600, $700 for meals, transportation, housing while we're there. We haven't talked about doing fundraising yet, but that certainly could be an option here that we would work out on our end. A reminder too, if you haven't got your passport already, to get that underway. That can, hopefully wouldn't take this long, but it can take up to 3 months, so that'd be something that you'd want to get underway with right now. Does that all sound right as to what we kind of initially talked about? Okay.
Even we can talk about the trip a little bit. For our family, it was a 24 hours trip, basically. The plane ride, okay, that was Minneapolis, O'Hare, that was Illinois, and then Chicago, and then Brazil, Mendoza. It was a little long. With 3 girls, can you imagine that? That was an adventure, okay? But we made it. And at the same time, we can go in and looking for flights flexible with this, you know, and going from maybe directly from Chicago. We will see, but so many different options to go in from in different directions. We can go into Panama, Mendoza, have other connections there, or maybe it can be O'Hare to Chile, and Chile, Mendoza. It's a lot of different options there for flights. It's depend of the days and the price. Basically, we say 1,500 can be a practical between this window, 1,500 or 1,700. Basically, because the trip is pretty expensive to go in. This is one of the things. But then the life there is pretty cheap. You can eat pretty well with $10. The thing with transportation, with renting, you know, have a normal house, but is more or less what we're thinking about. What is it? The exchange, basically $1 is 450 pesos. I know it's a lot of, when I brought this money to the team and things like that, looks like I'm a trafficker or something like that. It's a lot of month of money and things like that. But it's how the devaluation and inflation start to affect our country too. Like it's an opportunity for foreigners.
So basically, I mean, you can get a pizza easily for $4 is the equivalent. Like food is very cheap. What it was, just to give an idea too of just the economic, one of the biggest reason Argentina stays second country is because of their economic. It goes up and down in political reasons. But when we went initially 10 years ago, the first time I went, every dollar was only 15 pesos, and now it's $1 to 400. Like that's how much currently they have gone down.
Yeah, 10 years ago was, 1.5. Yeah, it's true.
Timeline-wise, we're roughly 6 months out here, and I'm just wondering, with your past experience in planning, like at what point we think about booking flights, and I guess more so I'm looking for, when do we need a firmer, and we're just here getting information, interested, but when do we kind of need to begin to get a more firm answer from folks?
Normally, for us, it's taking maybe in the 3 months before the trip, 2.5 months, we're looking for options because it's good to anticipate into this. Yeah.
3 months out, probably, I would guess, right? I mean, that's something I think you guys need to decide on, but yes.
Because, basically it's going to be in 5 months, right?
All right. I think that's all the questions that I have. I know these guys will be around to answer questions afterwards if you have them, but I'd encourage you, if you've got a question now, probably somebody else in the room does or somebody watching this might. So anybody else have any questions before we kind of wrap up?
As far as the booking the flights, are you going to act as a clearinghouse, or is that something we do individually online? We all just say, here's the flight number, everybody log on at the same time. How does that typically happen when you take downtown or any other type of group?
Okay, we have different options there. We can do them for ourselves. Like now is a pretty easy thing. But for example, when we're doing with the Downtown Church, we consult into the agency, a travel agency here in downtown Milford, and they brought a price, but sometimes increase because they have their honoraries, or it's a little bit more expensive. But I think we can figure it out for ourselves. I think it's a pretty safe platform that we can go in and buy the tickets from there.
Yes, I mean, I think we used Orbitz or something, but I think when you find the flight you want, somebody would probably book it for everybody together, correct? To make sure that you are on the same flights is what I would recommend, which I think that's something you leaders need to talk about, how that money-wise works. But what we found online, we got a really good that popped up one day that was like way cheaper than all the other days. It was cheaper than the travel agent too, but not saying they can't find those deals also.
Yeah. And believe me, like Argentinian, I'm a little gypsy. I love to go and look in the right price and the low, but with good quality. Okay, we don't want to be like at the end of the flight, like, okay. Yeah. And sometimes when it's pretty cheap, it starts to be suspicious. Like, okay, I don't know.
Not that, but just as an overall closing on my end, Argentina's a very, very unique country, and I love it because it's a mix of both the indigenous South American culture and European culture that migrated, the Germans, the Italians, the Spanish. So especially in Buenos Aires, you get a huge European feel, but you still get some of that in Mendoza. You get the European bakeries, you get the gelato, you get all that part that comes from Europe, right? but you have the culture of the indigenous and the people that come from the land in the Andes Mountains. So it's a really neat location to visit.
Like we say before, it's no third world, it's second world, okay?
Any other questions? Yeah. Yeah, so the question was, is there a reason junior high and up? And just in our preliminary planning, I think we talked about the shape of what we do there, which can be, I think, adjusted depending on who's going, but there's also the matter of, as you mentioned, with traveling with kids and that the responsibilities that go with that. So initially it was, that kind of seemed like a age range and responsibility level that we thought was a good place to start, but that's an open conversation, I guess.
Yeah, another point is if parents want to go with their kids. Oh, sorry. If parents want to go with their kids and are young but they coming with their parents, completely freedom with that. And the other thing, why for juniors and seniors? I think it's a beautiful experience for you before going and jumping to the college. You have an experience with other cultures. And we have one, Elsa Jorgensen. I don't know that you know. She was a senior this year. She's gonna go to Spain and Argentina for a year to have an experience to go in and serve in there. You never know how this can open a window to go in and serve and have an experience with culture. But it's amazing to see how our new cultures open new perspective about what is the world, okay? Before jumping in other experience too. And for parents, facilitate this to your kids can be great. For our family, it's something important that we want to put in our girls. Deal with different realities. Something that we brought a lot of joy for us is so Isabella, she's 2 years old, completely covered in dust, going and play with the Pepe's kid everywhere, you know? And she was one of them going and enjoy this. We had a friend, Ken Wilson. He's a carpenter. He made wood helicopter for the Pepe's kids. They were incredible happy. And I saw my girls there like, it's a wood helicopter. How's gonna be, what is the thing? But see this joy with simple things impact our girls too. And living in that culture, experience these things can give you, in my opinion, a lot for growing spiritually, emotionally, and going and serve the community there. You learn a lot about yourself because you expose another culture, another language. But this is the main reason, living an experience with another culture.
Yeah, so I think that conversation can stay open, and I guess as I think about that, I'm just thinking, we're thinking juniors and up, you know, could be more responsible for themselves if we're looking at younger than that than, you know, a parent coming along with or something, so, yeah. Any other questions? Anything that we didn't ask you that you thought, wow, why I didn't ask that?
I don't know if with the schedule, if you will get in a church service or not. We didn't really go there much, but it's a bit more, I shouldn't say crazy, but it's more enthusiastic. I couldn't think of the word that I wanted to use, but it's fun to see the worship and just how the different cultures experience God in different ways. I always went out with the kids, but the preaching definitely lasts like hour and a half, 2 hours.
Awesome. Yeah, the idea is have a plan before you're going and planning going to Argentina. But yes, the idea is every morning you're going to have a meeting together, all together, planning we had the plan of the day. What are we going to do? Maybe we're going to visiting families there. Maybe some of you going to participate in the meeting or in the service. Maybe the youth going to hiking with a youth group, and the adults we have other activities there. It's a bunch of different realities there that we can do, but for sure we're going to plan before because normally it's what we did in the past.
The eating times, I mean, you'd probably have breakfast around 9, and we always had breakfast, I guess, if you're in a house or whatnot, or if you do it together. But then the lunch isn't until like 2 o'clock, and then 2 to 4 would probably be a bit more chill, because it is when they have their siesta and it's hot. And then again, a lot of people get out. Well, Pepe's would be later, or going into town, whatever. And then you would eat again later, 9, 10 at night.
Yeah, being ready for this change, and my pressure is go and take your nap, even that it's be short or long, but did it, because in the night, like, hey, myself too, you know, it's like 9, 10, I'm starting to be like, okay. The difference of hours is important. All the things to be in, it's 2 hours front, okay? When it's here, what time is now? Like 8, it's 10 p.m. there, okay? It's not a huge difference. In Spain, it's crazy. It's like 7, 8 hours. Yes, Spain. Argentina is 2 hours, just 2 hours front. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Way south. Yeah, I got it, Adam. Yes.
It's not that different, yeah.
Yeah. Other questions?
All right. Well, thanks for being here tonight. If you got any more questions, email Josh at 3cross.org, or myself, Brian, at 3cross.org, and we'll get back to you, get some answers. But let's give these guys a round of applause. Thank you for being here tonight, and we look forward to partnering with you more. And I'm sure we'll have another meeting, too, in not too long. And so